The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Ads with Simon Pound from simonpound.com.
Yep, and he's with us this morning. Good morning, Simon.
Good morning, Wammo. How are you, good sir?
Very well. This morning we're talking about road safety campaigns and the history of road safety campaigns, and in particular how it's gone down in Australia.
Yeah, I thought I'd highlight a really interesting, great big montage that's just come to light about the way that they've been advertising road safety. We talked about it on the ad show last night. We record on the Wednesday for the Thursday transmission, so tonight there's going to be the full discussion on the show. But New Zealand has followed the lead of the Australians in the way that we are advertising to try and stop people from drink driving and speeding and crashing and hurting themselves. And the Victorian Transport Accident Commission, the TAC, they pioneered the really shocking image approach of advertising, the kind of aversion therapy, if you will, of advertisements. They've just hit 20 years since they started this, and there's been this really effective montage put together that's been set to the song Everybody Hurts by R.E.M. And the way it runs, I imagine you've got it there to show if anyone's watching through the Ustream.
Yeah.
The way it runs is that it sets it up for the first kind of 3 and a bit minutes of the 5-minute song with the start of all these ads. And I don't know about you, but you can kind of tell when a road safety ad comes on.
You can, eh?
The family's having a nice time and they're in a car and everyone's happy. And you know that things are, if someone's just a little bit too confident, and you know that before long, like a horror movie, you're going to see some blood and gore and someone's going to get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
So there's a whole stream of these things with all of these families setting out and mates setting out from the pub and people saying, no, I'm all right to drive, and it just the sense of doom builds, and then they all are in the car and they're all travelling, and then suddenly, bang, and it's just this cacophony of destruction and disaster and blood. And they are quite, the first time you see them, these ads really do get you. They're quite surprising. So it's quite a powerful bit of filmmaking, putting together this 20 years of pain and destruction. What it's led to, though, is a few people questioning whether that approach has actually been that effective and whether it is helping now. And the reasons people are questioning this is that if you adjust for in 1995 the road toll's about 600, and nowadays the road toll's about 400 a year.
Yeah.
So there has been a big improvement in that, but it's been steady at 400 a year for quite a number of years now. And people say, well, there's more cars on the road, but in countries with a much greater density of population and therefore a much greater number of cars, like Japan or England, the road toll is much lower per capita. And we also have in New Zealand still, by a long way apparently, the highest youth number of drivers that die on the roads. So, and that hasn't changed either. So it would seem that just more of the same may not actually be getting the messages across anymore. We had a very interesting.
Just been watching the montage, and it's like a highly realistic action film.
Oh, it is, and I don't know about you, but having seen so many of those images, sometimes I just get the feeling when I'm driving along and everything's too nice and I'm singing along to a song and my kids are laughing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's a crash coming on its way because you've seen this so often. You know, sometimes like you're at an airport or something and someone walks past with a gun and you suddenly think that you're in a. I don't know if you've travelled overseas and you suddenly see like a security guard walk past with weapons and you think you're in Die Hard.
Yeah.
You know, like these things do warp how you think. Well, we had a very interesting academic on last night called Nikki Harday, and she had some interesting points about by choosing to show messages that show the negative behaviour, you may in fact be setting people up to do those negative things. And a good analogy for this is that people who are teaching language are told that they should never write up on a blackboard the incorrect way to spell something or the incorrect grammar or the way that something is wrong, because people, by seeing an E and an I the wrong way round, will then think that that's the way, and when they go to do something, they won't know what the real thing is to do.
Right.
And,
so an example would be the one of the more recent campaigns in New Zealand of intersections and to be patient at intersections and don't pull out in front of cars.
Yes. Well, she said that what she would like to see are ads, but the ads that she likes and that she would like to see more of are the ones like the good after bull comes to noon ones, where the guys are all drinking together, and then one guy is the sober driver, and as he was the sober driver, he got them home fine, and everyone was cool.
Yeah.
And there was also humour involved. And the other ones she likes to see are the ones like where there's been a party at the house, and then instead of going home, instead of driving home, a guy will pull out his guitar and sleep in the bath, and you know, they'll all have a nice time, and everyone lives, and everything's cool.
You're a Manus.
So, yeah, so those ones where positive messages are shown are the ones that she likes, especially with a bit of humour, as opposed to the possible, which is not saying that she shouldn't say this was the absolute going to be, but there's the possible normalising factor of showing this bad behaviour. So by showing all these ads of people speeding, people drinking and driving, people generally, being young and stupid and irresponsible as well, it just shows young, stupid and irresponsible people that this happens, and in some way that's not helping, which was very interesting. I thought to bring up. And
no doubt there should be some kind of government-funded study to find out what the reactions are.
Land Transport, the LTSA, whatever they're called these days, the people that make these ads, we invited them on the show many times. We put the show off 3 weeks because we tried to make sure we could accommodate getting someone from the NZTA or the LTSA. I think they're called the NZTA now, these government departments with their shifting, changing acronyms.
Yeah.
Initialisms, those are, NZTA. Anyway, so we shifted the show for 3 weeks to try and make sure we could get someone from them on, but they never wanted to front anyone. But they did send us a...
what did they say why they were reluctant?
There were a number of factors to do with people not being available and scheduling and timetabling. But after you've moved 3 weeks, the implication has to be that they weren't incredibly keen to come on and talk about it either. But they did send us statements, and the statement they said is that they don't believe that their advertisements are fear-based, which is pretty much our contention, that all of these ones where that you show something horrible happening and it's the fear it can happen to you is what's meant to motivate you. They don't believe they're fear-based. They say that they're evidence-based and research-based, and that they carefully track to make sure that the messages are getting through the groups that they're hoping they will get through to. And, basically they're saying, look, we're not doing this for fun. We believe that this is the best way to do it.
Interesting.
So, and on the show, no one was suggesting that these horrendous ads were being made for no reason and it was hurting. But I think there is a bit of an environment where questions are being asked if it's even working anymore. And I personally feel that when one comes on, I just kind of flick the channel and don't want to have anything to do with it. You know?
Yeah. You see it once, and then you don't want to see that negative message over and over again.
And do you get a fatigue? Is it a fatigue of not another nice little thing with a daughter crying?
It's the same day, David.
The way that those things have got into the popular culture does suggest that there's an element of the message coming through. But I wonder, the most effective one...
But to be honest, I can't remember why it was the same day. But anyway, that's right, you got the speed photo? The speed ticket the same day? Yeah, that's right.
The most effective one so far, and I mean, that's the black humour right there. When there's things you don't want to deal with, you make black humour out of them. I mean, it's a joke. It's the same day, David.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. Someone's dead in that ad.
But not really. They made it up.
Well, the most effective one of all, we put together a bit of a compilation of the way that New Zealand advertising was done. And the most effective one that we found is pretty much the very first one that came out. And was the one of, the way it ends, which pretty much everyone ought to remember, is there's a guy inside a hospital bed and he's lost a leg, and the sound of the heart machine beeping, and then there's the vial of blood with the blood dropping through as it goes through the drip back into his body, and the music's really kind of like washy and atmospheric, and it pans slowly around and shows him lying in this hospital bed with the leg lost, and it's just amazingly powerful. And then it ends by saying slow down, and that may be 15 years old, it may be the first one that we did, but it's still the most powerful of all of them.
All right, Rod, check out the ad show tonight. It's on TVNZ7. Simon Pound, simonpound.com. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks. Lovely to talk to you.
See ya.